Good morning and welcome to Daybreak Live on Dominion Television Ibadan. I'm Oluwayemi Adelako and happy new month to you. With a development that has sparked conversations among prospective core members, and that's what we are starting with this morning, and the stakeholders in Nigeria's education sector. Our Daybreak focuses on the Federal Executive Council's decision to cancel the National Youth Service Corps passing out parade and extend the orientation course from 3 weeks to 6 weeks. The announcement has raised important questions. What informed the decision? What could it mean for prospective core members and the future of the NYSC scheme? We'll examine the issues surrounding the policy and the reactions it has generated.
Absolutely, the thoughts for thoughts this morning. And I'm Amadou Apoidu. We'll also bring you today's newspapers and headlines where we'll review the biggest stories making the front pages across the country, from politics and governance to business, security, and the economy. We'll also break down the headlines and highlight the stories shaping today's national conversation.
Definitely. And later on, our big story shifts the focus beyond Nigeria's borders to examine its developments with implications across the continent. Our discussion is tied to South Africa's anti-immigration protests, implications for Nigerians and other African migrants, as anti-immigration protests continue to dominate conversations in South Africa. Concerns are growing over the safety, rights and future of Nigerians and other African migrants living in the country. What responsibilities do government have in protecting their citizens abroad? And what does this movement say about regional cooperation and African solidarity? And joining us for that conversation is Sam Woko, Deputy Editor of the Nigerian Tribune.
It's another morning of serious conversations about Nigeria and even the world. Thank you for choosing to spend your morning with us. Welcome to Daybreak Live this morning and happy new month once again to you.
Exactly.
It's a new month. And I think for many core members, it's going to be maybe the start of a new dawn. I spoke intentionally yesterday to some core members about this issue. And a good number of them were saying no. Of course, maybe that would be the default reaction of everybody to a change, as a person. But yesterday, according to what we are going to talk about today, it reads that the FEC, which is the Federal Executive Council, cancelled NYSC passing out parade and extended the orientation camp to 6 weeks, orientation to 6 weeks now. So the federal government, approved a comprehensive reform of the National Youth Service Corps since its establishment in 1973, replacing military leadership with a civilian director general. I think that's one conversation. So to say, let's stick it in the box, this is the first point. Why switch the director general from being a military person now to a civilian
DG?
DG, that's a conversation. And again, it also restructured the one-year scheme into 11 specialized skills-based streams, redesigned the orientation camp program and uniform, and directed the amendment of the NYC Act to give immediate legal effect to the changes. So that's exactly what the president wants, or should we say the FEC now, the Federal Executive Council. That was one of the things. There were many other conversations at the FEC meeting, but one thing that was peculiar to this situation was about the orientation camp. And then thank God, I also passed through the system, and I saw a bit of things that happened while I was a core member. While I think it's a development, because there's no way we can just do the same thing again and again, and not consider the changing times, right? It only makes us foolish if we keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result. So we understand now that the country needs to increase its production capacity. And I think that's one of the things decided. Of course, there's side groups. Side is the skill acquisition and it's the entrepreneurial development or something, according to the NYSC, which is a good development. But this time around, they are changing the way orientation camp is going to run to about 11 skills-based kind of program where an average person will get to learn something much more intensely. Because if you want to say that people learn for 3 weeks and then that's okay, it's not okay, it's not enough, right? 6 weeks can also give that opportunity for core members to learn more. I'm forced to say something, maybe just to learn how to do akara, but that's on the humor side of things. But to be honest now, I think it's going to make a lot of sense if we have it extended, my own view anyway, extended so that they can train them more on some of this. For example, people who were in the ICT department at the time when we were learning the skills in camp, they had just a little time to practice what they have learned. And this time around, I think it's going to be more it's going to help them more because they're going to have more time to learn, more time to even practice, you know, on the job kind of situation for them before they leave the camp. Because I tell you, for one, many persons who leave the camp to their PPAs would probably not go back to whatever they learned outside. It's just a normal thing. Even inside, people are sleeping. Like, side is a sleeping pill for many persons. Like, I mean, the skill acquisition program that is that's been in camp, people sleep when they have those kind of structures. So I think it's a good way to see that. But the Director General moving from being a military person now to a civilian person is what I'm even questioning. That, okay, does it mean that soldiers are not going to be deployed to camps? If it means that way,
no, I don't think that's part of it.
It might not be part. But I'm trying to look at why will it be that the DG was removed in the first place to become a civilian? Why do you not like the DG being a military person? Because I think I don't know how best to put this, but I'm saying they're soldiers always in camp, right? They're designated to those positions to man and to guard the camp. And I think there's a chain of command that is swift, that is understandable, and that is easy to pass down from the DG being a military person to an average person who is maybe the camp commandant in that sense. Because, you know, there's a chain of, because if you understand the way the thing has been structured, it's a paramilitary kind of setting, and then it's regimented. If it's regimented, the people that are making it regimented are the soldiers, right, in camps. They are the ones who enforce the law in that sense. And you can see that they put us through some of the trainings they've gone through. They tell us, this is not how to live, guys. You cannot be doing like this. You have to wake up, they blow the whistle, they wake you up at the time you don't even want. They tell you there are laws, there are regiments and all of that you have to follow. And I think I love it. But I'm just saying there's a chain of command that comes from the DG being a military person to a commandant who is a military person, and down to the soldiers who man and guard every position in camp. So I'm saying that I'm trying to understand the rationale behind that. Is there going to be, what would be the criteria? Because it could be political. My problem is that it could just be political, that whoever becomes the DG is just a political person that has been given an opportunity because he helped the last administration to get into government, and then say, okay, let's just give you another. But I think I love the regimented structure of the military, and that's what I'm saying. That's my bias, and that's why I really do not think, I don't kind of understand, or I do not really agree with that replacement of the DG.
Okay, yeah, I think you're absolutely spot on, and then you share the sentiment of millions of Nigerians. And then I think NYC was created in 1973, and then according to the Minister of Youth and Development, he said it was majorly created after the Civil War to foster national unity, because we found out that the reason why a lot of persons do not want to tolerate other people from other regions is because they feel you're not from my place, so why should I tolerate you? So they created that to ensure that people can manage other people from other regions. And then he now said, looking at 2026, he said the priorities of Nigeria as a country has changed. He said that we are no longer interested, or we are no longer having issues around national unity, but I beg to differ, basically. But that's a conversation for another day. And then he said that's why they want to change the scheme in a way. And so I try to look at certain things that they want to do, the reforms now, and I think some will require legislative amendment, while some will require constitutional amendment, because NYT is an act, and before you do certain things, you need to embark on certain amendment. And then some can even require the president say, okay, I just want to change this. He has the authority, right? And then I try to look at some of the things that they want to do. They want to change the uniform, just like you mentioned, extension from 3 weeks to 6 weeks, and they will divide the 6 weeks into 2 weeks each. And I also read that at the point of registration, you're expected to pick a certain thing that you want to focus on. And then we have like agriculture. I'll try to read some of this things so that we can just follow. We have the education core, agricultural core, the technology and digital core, the legal core, the public service core, the infrastructure core, the green core, the enterprise core. I don't want to call all now because I don't want to bore you and the listeners now. So at the point of registration, you're expected to pick one out of this. I think we have 11 of them. And then I think these reforms, some will make sense to a lot of persons, but then I think the major thing we need to focus on about NYC is insecurity. A lot of parents will say, do not even bother about NYC. Just wait till you're 30, get exemption later, because I cannot risk your life. And then even the personal parade that they want to change it to a ceremony now. It's no longer going to be a personal parade. Where I served, there was no personal parade. So even the personal parade is not available in every state. We have 36 states in the country. There was no personal parade when I finished my NYSC. So I think that's on another side now. So I think the major thing we should also focus on, beyond all these reforms, good reforms, because they are saying that, beyond the drill, the manual drill, and all of those things, we need people to learn. We want to prepare them for the future. Because, I don't know, in a way, I'm feeling like the whole Akara, discussion over the weekend and last week maybe prompted the federal government to say, okay, if they are saying, why are you projecting Akara business for the youths? It's for the market women. Why? Let us come up with something much better. Let us come up with tech skills and things like that. So it's a good one on one side, but let's not lose focus on the major thing affecting NYC, which is insecurity. Can we begin to look at not posting people to places that are prone to, terrorism and banditry? Because you see somebody who is from a particular state, you post that person to a state where people are dying on a daily basis. Since we are now talking, we are no longer concerned about national unity, because according to the federal government, we've been able to achieve that. Can we talk about the safety of these people? If I want to serve in my region, people should be allowed to do that, in as much as it will not maybe affect the scheme or something. So this should be the focus in security. The reforms are good. 6 weeks, and then they want to change, from military DG to civilian DG. If it's going to require a legislative amendment or a constitutional amendment, we can begin to talk about that. But then let's not forget the major problem, which is insecurity.
Yeah, I would just add to that what you've said, and that would be that I was going through the course, like you said. There's the agricultural for the 11 skills-based program that they want to introduce now.
Right.
I'm not sure many of these things are new. I'm not sure core members are alien to this, especially in camp. That's why I mentioned the SAID group. We understand the SAID is skill acquisition and entrepreneurial development in camps, and I understand why that was a thing. But now to now say they want to make it more structured is one thing I love. But again, my point is, I hope they do this thing very well, in the sense that are we still going to continue with the kind of education we get in agriculture and the practice we get in agriculture from the theories we learned in school, or it's going to be more practical? If it's going to be more practical, what are the measures they are putting in place to ensure this? Because we understand this is 2026. The world is moving so fast. And if, of course, any nation that would really do well, thrive, even in agriculture, food security, must invest in mechanization. And that is not even it. Because you also understand the case of climate change, so you need artificial irrigation as well. So let all of these things be structured into what you want to do. Not do just say you want, because it's almost like a lecture for me, because I'm reading through, I'm seeing agricultural core, I'm seeing ICT core, all of these cores, but let it be more structured. If that did not work well, the SAID group did not work well, then let this work, in the sense that you're putting some things, you are investing much more fund into this, so that they can be exposed to the practical aspect of some of these cores that you are bringing.
They should not abort these processes, because after the 6 weeks, I think part of what I read is, because some of the core that we actually mentioned, it will take more than 6 weeks. So the core members will not be transferred after the 6 weeks, because they need to continue the process. Because it will defeat the entire process if after 6 weeks they're done and then they were unable to complete what they were supposed to complete, basically.
So I guess they should do more in terms of making it structured. I think structure is one thing we lack in this country. Structure. If you want to make this new law, make this promulgation, make it structured, so that once people finish, like you said, they can still continue. Let it be a chain that, okay, once you leave camp, we can still communicate to you to say to go do this there or do this for the government, or whichever way. But I think it's a development.
And it's a fine place to leave that discussion this morning. We take a short break and we move on to newspaper headlines and analysis. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast and on X at Dominion Cast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Thank you for staying with us. Let's now take a run through or a rundown into the stories that are making the rounds across the newspapers this morning in the country. Nigeria embassy packed 269 returned as South Africa protest rise. That's on the front page of the Punch newspaper, talking xenophobia. Right then, South Africa, the protest began yesterday officially, and then we saw videos, we saw clips of how it unfolded in different parts of South Africa, and the movement calling, I think the March for March or so, calling for the removal of people. Of course, people are illegally staying in South Africa. There were different conversations from different quarters and corners of the world about that particular situation. But of course, we'll keep our fingers crossed and bring you more updates as it breaks much further. Now, moving on from that story, federal government to scrap GSS and SSS structure over 20 million dropouts. And that's also a conversation that is quite interesting. And for one, you would ask why. In Nigeria, according to the data provided by the UNICEF, Nigeria has about 18.3 million out-of-school children, and that is a lot to even consider for a country that is depending on the youth, maybe someday, to become leaders of tomorrow. And so if you want to say quality education according to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal Agenda 4 is not important, then we probably don't know what we're doing. Education is just as important, right? And I think that's one of the things that the federal government is willing to do, especially with this new structure of scrapping the GSS and the SSS. But we hope it's also, like we say, structured in a way that would really help the education sector to move from what we have been to what we can now be, considering the times and seasons that we are currently in now as a country and as a nation. Many nations of the world have gone beyond the four the four walls of the classroom, and they're now doing or teaching something that is more pertinent to the present reality of their time. And I think that's one of the things we should do. We should talk about technology, talk about artificial intelligence, talk about innovation. I mean, what stops our schools from producing drones, from producing things that can help our security architecture? I mean, I'm not seeing anything that can stop us except that we are not thinking in that direction. So if we take it back to the university and probably go to our universities and say to our lecturers and professors, the physicists, the biochemical engineers, and every one of them, let's start working on something that we can build for this country, build something that can help our security architecture. I learned that a particular university in Ukraine was responsible at the time for giving out the drones that they were using, to fight when there was something like a war or insurgents in that region. And I think, it's a no-brainer. It's something we should do. It's not something we should even debate. We should have those kind of things instead of the pumping a lot of money into security vote, pumping a lot of money into a security budget and all of that. Can we also take some of those monies that has been, put there to the university to help in development, to help in research, to help in production, and I think it's going to be a good thing for the country, Nigeria. But away from that story as well, Borno abduction. Parents list 36 missing children as youth protest. That's about the Borno State. Yesterday, there were indications that, the military was able to, the Air Force, particularly the NAF, and Air Force was able to, Nigerian Air Force Base was able to, to a conversation about one on track on the Punch newspaper, this morning. Marketers reject fuel pricing, curbs threaten shut down. That's on page 21 of the Punch newspaper as well this morning. I never rubber-stamped foreign loans as Senate President. That's coming from Saraki. There's also the conversation of the Senate House being a rubber stamp of this administration. There's been cases, but Saraki, a former senator, has come out to say that he never stamped any foreign loans as a Senate President. Anyway, that's also a conversation. Floodwaters submerge homes, disrupts power supply in Lagos. Of course, the rainy season is here and everybody's talking about it, but some people are not talking about it. Some people are swimming. And sometimes you just have to look out for the best ways possible to still cope in this country. But of course, it's not even a country thing, it's just a natural thing. But I'm looking out for ways we can curb this from happening. There should be warning systems, early detection signs, and all of those things for people living in susceptible areas where you can tell them in this, okay, so the rain we're expecting is at this level, is at this intensity, so if you have your loads and your children, please move to this side. I think that's the way to do a country. Anyway, that's even on another side. Now, moving on from the Punch newspaper this morning to the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. Candidate list APC governors to meet Uganda. That is on the front page. The biggest caption on the Nigerian Tribune newspaper says, candidates list APC governors to meet Uganda. Political parties begin upload to INEC portal. PDP, NDC, LP confirm receipt of access codes, and Wiki-led PDP receives code as confusion hits Turaki camp. So we have uploaded Obi's name, says NDC. Page 2 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper is where to catch up with that story, as you can see. Of course, Federal High Court issues new 2026 pre-elections practice directions, repeals 2022 rules, and so many other stories to go around. But for want of time, we have to shelve this particular edition of newspaper headlines and analysis and move on to the big story with Oluwayemi and Dilapin. But I'll be shortly after the break. Stay with us.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Need a professional space to... your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast and on X at Dominion Casts. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
When fear replaces solidarity, everyone loses. I welcome you to the big story on Daybreak Live. I'm Oluwayemi Adelakun. Across South Africa, thousands have taken to the streets demanding the removal of undocumented foreign nationals, reigniting concerns over xenophobia and the safety of African migrants. As Nigeria continues the voluntary evacuation of its citizens, many questions arise. What is driving these protests? What do they mean for Nigerians and other African migrants? And what does this say about African unity and regional cooperation? And to help us unpack these issues, I'm joined by Sam Oko, Deputy Editor with Nigerian Tribune. Mr. Oko, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Good morning.
Viewers.
Right. Okay, before I turn to you with my first question, I would love us to watch two particular videos. One is about the protest and the other is about a woman who complained about quite a number of things. Let's watch the videos. I will come back. So let me turn to you. What do you think is driving the latest wave of protests in South Africa?
The government. By government, I mean the political leadership. When there is nothing to grasp by the people, they will turn to anarchy and they will turn to violence. And government hasn't given the right leadership, and this has fueled, the uprising, if I may refer to it as that. It has fueled increased protest on the streets. People are angry. People are not satisfied with a whole lot of things, and they now think it is the immigrants that have caused the economic, social, and sundry problems they have in their country. So I think the government, which has refused to give a proper structure, is the one fueling the entire thing. The anger may be there from the natives and so on, but when the natives sit down and think that those people they want out of their country are part of their economy and part of their life, they would have understood it better. And I would have thought that the government would have used what they call agenda setting modem of media management to help let these people understand this, and use the other one they call the cultivation theory. The one is the agenda setting theory, the cultivation theory, to make the people understand that immigrants are not their problems, but indeed that the government, which has failed to provide leadership, is their problem in South Africa.
Okay, but the President Ramaphosa tried severally to calm the people down. Does it mean he's not doing it the right way?
Because he's not. If you want to calm the people down, calm them down by what means? By calling for dialogue, or by calling for what? See, the people who are protesting do not understand the differences in what the protesters are saying and what the government is saying. The government is saying that government itself is in support of the fact that they don't want undocumented immigrants in their country. So they are saying all undocumented immigrants should leave. But the protesters are saying immigrants should leave, whether you are documented or not. Otherwise, they wouldn't have shot dead the one they called Big Joe. That Big Joe was one of the people they went to his. This was just last week or thereabouts, where they were telling him to leave by the end of the month, and eventually they even had to tell him to. They know him.
He was shot in front of his shop.
They knew him. They understand what he was doing. They know he's employing South Africans and so on and so forth. But still, they shot him and killed him. So, what is now the difference? What is now the government saying? What are the so-called protesters saying? So, the government is not handling it the way I thought they should have handled it. One of the things I felt the government should have done was to call those who are organizing this, those behind this, sit them down and then give them proper education on what immigration means. Because they are part of a global community, they are part of an African Union, they are part of other international organizations, they are part of the G20 and so on and so forth. So if people from G20 countries who are blacks are in their country, they'll tell them to leave because they don't want immigrants. Is that what they are saying? Is that what the government is sitting down looking at? So I think the government of Ramaphosa is just playing lip service to all that is going on there. And in no distant time, this will backfire. And it will not just consume his government, it may set the country on fire.
Okay, the woman said something. She said their countries are not safe and they slaughter kids. What do you make of that statement?
They slaughter
kids.
Who slaughter the kids? You see, I sometimes wonder how we arrive at certain conclusions. Now, this woman, I tried to listen to what she was saying. Unfortunately, the intonation and I found it difficult to make sense of what she was saying. But she is part of the protest too.
Yes.
They want immigrants to leave. So has she been able to find out if immigrants are the ones slaughtering their kids? Are the immigrants the one not creating jobs? Immigrants are actually creating jobs. Those things they are complaining about are things the immigrants try to, they are the problems the immigrants are trying to mitigate. One of the things the government is not doing right is there is crime in South Africa, and the crime they talk about in South Africa is not peculiar to immigrants. When World Cup 2010 was coming, there were reports that they had to push so many of the citizens to the back quarters and kept them there as a way of controlling them from being nuisances, or nuisance if the word hasn't got the plural form, to keep them from being nuisance in the face of the world and taint the image of South Africa. 2010 to now is how many years? 15, 25 years or so.
15, 16.
Yeah. 2010 to 2020 to 2025 to 16 years. That was when they hosted the World Cup. There was a report by one British tabloid, which went to those backwaters to report that the rate of crime there was nothing any sane person would want to partake in. And it still happens. It still happens in the sense that they do drugs, they commit sundry crimes, and you now pin it on immigrants. Okay, why not take out drug dealers, take out crime-infested people, take out criminals, and leave your country clean, so that academics who are found in most of their universities can thrive, so that people who run legitimate businesses, who came into the country with their proper documentation, thrive and help the country indeed. A Nigerian is playing for their national team. His name is Okon. I'm trying to remember his first name. He was playing, he was their right back. He contributed to their country qualifying for the round of 32 of this World Cup. He's an immigrant. He is a child of an immigrant. So those are some of the advantages of immigrants. But if you now think that immigrants are the entire problem and you allow native Zulu, indigenes and so on to dictate how you run the country, then anarchy is looming in South Africa. That's all I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Okay, how swift is the Nigerian government in terms of rescuing this?
They are not swift. Last week we saw videos of Nigerian Consul General who was teaching people, he was teleguiding people on what to say so that government can come and evacuate them. And those ones we are saying, look, give us a date. Tell us how you begin to move people. It was only yesterday, only the second batch came yesterday, and we know there are thousands of Nigerians in South Africa. I used to have a cousin there. We grew up together. We went to the same primary school. I think a year senior in the primary school. In 2010.
Okay.
No, that was not 2010. In 2000, that was long before the World Cup. 2008, 2010, I was in Anambra as a correspondent, and they were hosting the World Cup then. In 2008, 2007, he ran back from South Africa. He said, look, he went there, he does rural integration stuff. He said that place, that twice he escaped, he came within the whiskers of death because they shot at him. And twice he kept asking himself, what am I doing here? He ran back. In fact, I just saw him with nothing. He said, I had to leave that place. Because I said, were you living in their... I didn't understand South Africa to be that crime infested by then. He tried to explain. He said, they don't like immigrants. They didn't even want to understand what he came there to do. I said, okay, at least you are back in whole. You are not back in a coffin or in a body bag. So, and that was the last time he went there. So, if from that time till now we still have the same problem, remember there are a number of Nigerians who have been killed in South Africa who are unaccounted for because government will handle the matter in so haphazard and shabby way that you angrily leave the matter to yourself. So all I'm trying to say is that the government is not doing enough, and secondly, what they are doing today is not what just came upon them today. It is something that has been growing over the years, and now we are beginning to feel that they cannot manage their own affairs themselves.
Okay, I want us to take a look at two more videos because, another protester says something about they are taking our jobs, they drive cars, I don't have a car, and then the other one is about Ghanaians who also protested. Let's take a look at the videos.
are tired. We are very tired. You are coming in our country, taking our women, taking our jobs. We are very tired. You do the same job and you are driving a car, but I'm not driving. We are tired of this shit. Bahame.
Ghana. So our sisters, wise up. Wise up. Look for something to do. Nigerians, they are fraudsters. They are ritual killers. They are organ harvesters. If they get that money and you give it to you, a time will come, they'll use you yourself. They'll use you. For rituals. For rituals. Nigeria must go. That if they spend, let's say, 30,000 on you, that means he's calculating it. He knows that if I pick this girl, I will spend 30,000 on her. So he will be giving it to you, thousand. But he knows that you, the whole body, is going to take like 300,000. I mean...
I'll welcome you back. Let's start with the old job thing, because the guy said, they have come to take our jobs, they drive cars, I don't have a car. And then some Nigerians are saying it appears South Africans are banking on lack of jobs in Nigeria to amplify the whole issue.
To answer the first video, the guy in the first video who was talking about jobs, we have heard and read a lot of sources that told of how lazy South Africans are. They killed Lucky Dube shortly after he came to Nigeria to perform during the Calabar Festival. And after the performance, he returned to his country, I think a few months after they shot him. And when they arrested the people who shot him, they said they thought he was a Nigerian. Lucky Dube is a very popular musician, in fact, one of the greatest reggae artists. What attracted them? His car. They said it was only Nigerians who could afford to drive those kind of cars. So they killed their own citizen in error because they saw a good-looking car. Now, keep that aside. Go to their universities. Nigerian intellectuals, Nigerian scholars work in their universities. They teach and do research in those places. And when they come back, they tell you that the South African students are given incentives to go to school. They are begged to stay in classes. They just come and collect, they call their stipend, they have a name for it. They come, collect the money and go their way. They don't stay in classes, they do drugs and all those things. So it is not for me to now begin to tell them that you should work so that you can chop, or work, chop, work. If you want to drive a car, work, make money. If you want to live the kind of life Nigerians, legitimate Nigerians now, if you want to live the kind of life legitimate Nigerians are living in your country, do the kind of businesses they do. They establish businesses, they start, they inject economic life into your economy, they inject life into your economy, they bring commerce, they bring a whole lot of things, and you will not be able to do any of this. And when your ladies see them, they take our women. He also talked about taking their women. When your ladies see that and see that these men work hard, they don't dump every need, everything on the ladies. The ladies will appreciate a man who works, who provides for his family, and who keeps something so that they can have a good life, train their children in school, and so on and so forth. So I don't see why he is worried about that. Then for the Ghanaians who are saying they are organ harvesters and so on, if you catch a criminal, treat a criminal like a criminal. A criminal is a criminal, whether he is a Mexican or he's a Chinese or he's a British, a Briton, whatever that does not have that hasn't got a name in your language is what does not exist in your language. In English language, you have thief, robber, felon, thug. All these are English words. It means they are describing some kind of phenomena in your country. So why will anybody now come here and be thinking that Nigeria is the one that brings every bad thing into your country? No, it's not true. Because I know that there are very legitimate. I have an elder brother who had been living in the UK. He moved to Austria when I was in primary school in 1982. And today he's 70 years old and he has lived in Austria. He married an Austrian. They provided for him, gave him everything. He's a Nigerian. They knew him from nowhere. But he has contributed to their economy because they even have their national award. They gave him awards and so on. They honored him. They made, I remember him bringing wristwatches and key holders, which were done in his honor. This is a Nigerian they knew from nowhere. He has contributed to their life. Now he teaches, he does business in the UK. You know, why am I saying this? There are good people, there are bad people. It doesn't matter where they come from. A person who is good is good. A legitimate person is a legitimate person. It could be Austrian, it could be New Zealander, it could be a Mao, and anywhere he comes from. But a bad person is also a bad person, regardless of where the person comes from. So the government, through their security agencies and sundry agencies, should do what they need to do to be able to fish out criminals and treat them as criminals, regardless of where they come from.
All right. So before we conclude this morning now, I want us to talk about certain things that Nigerians are talking about. They are saying, though other African countries are also, experiencing this, like Mozambique, like Somalia. Exactly. But some are saying, why is
even Ghana?
Even Ghana. Why is it that Nigerians are, suffering this more?
Two reasons. Number one is when you see a gathering of Africans. If 100 Africans gather in one place, be sure that you have at least 50% of that population, that gathering will be Nigerians. Because Nigerians migrate a lot. So when you look at the population of the country and see the preponderance of people who are forming the population of those places, it becomes a problem for Nigeria. So the population of Nigeria there is large. That is one. Then number two is that Nigeria is suffering it more because the leadership from home has not done what is expected. You see, when they told people to gather that they were going to evacuate them, they had thought this was going to be swift. It took the intervention of the people themselves and those who went to camp in Nigeria House in Pretoria and Johannesburg to be able to get the government to start making frantic efforts to get air peace, to be able to intervene and so on and so forth. So these are some of the things that are unexpected of the country. I remember that it was Air Peace that went to ferry some Nigerians who also suffered xenophobia a few years ago when they were singing in the aeroplane, singing praises of the chairman, the owner of Air Peace. So government here didn't do enough, and that is why many Nigerians are affected. That is why they are saying, that's why it looks like Nigerians are the most hit by this thing. And then the population of the country shows that in 1 in 3 or 1 in 4 Africans is a Nigerian. So that's population of the country and government's lethargic movement towards getting this off the ground for the people. That's what I think is the reason why Nigeria looks like the most affected of all the other countries.
All right, let's talk about how Nigeria as a country is handling this, because according to Demo Laushote, the presidential advisor on foreign affairs, he was speaking on behalf of the government, and he said President Tinubu's government is really on top of things. We cannot and we should not move to extreme measures at this point. We need to ensure that Nigerians, they are fully aware of their rights. So Nigerians are asking, are we still talking about the rights of Nigerians in that country?
The man they shot in front of his shop has rights because nobody said he is an illegal immigrant. So if you want to exert your rights, you need your life. You need to be alive to be able to prove that you have rights. A dead man does not argue cases. So Demolo Ojo shouldn't even. If Nigeria is on top of it, why are Nigerians protesting in South Africa? If Nigeria is on top of it, why did people have to leave their homes to go and camp at the Nigeria House in South Africa? They are not on top of anything. But if they are on top of anything, then they are on top of propaganda. Even the propaganda, they are not managing it well. Because videos emerge from this place to tell us that these people are not properly treated. And they evacuate them in trickles. If there were more than one airline doing this, 4 or 5 airlines, then it means you can move 1,000 in one day if you have 4 or 5. So I don't understand why government will be defending the indefensible. They handled this thing shabbily. That is why people were protesting before. The Nigerian consulate was saying the proper thing to say is that government, we see what you are doing, but please hasten the action and so on and so forth. And those people are saying, why will we be thanking government for keeping us in a place like this after promising to come and that they would come to evacuate us? So Demolo Ojo will speak like a government official. He will make excuses for his government. But the reality is that what they are doing is not proper, and they are not handling this matter well in any way.
In your opinion, what's the best solution? Because I remember Senator Adams Oshiomhole suggested something one time, that has to do with the companies of South Africa and Nigeria. And some persons were saying, no, let's not do that. Nigerians work for these companies in Nigeria. That will not solve any problem.
Personally, I don't. You see, I don't support extreme measures, the type which some Nigerians have advocated. Even there were some students who, they call themselves National Association of Nigerian Students. They said, look, that government should begin to close down South African businesses in Nigeria and so on. No. Yes, some people have argued that, I quote this, with a laughing wool, you have to cure madness with madness. Some people have made that advocacy, but I don't think it should come at this time, because this is not the first time this kind of thing is happening. That's first. Secondly, I don't think the African Union is there for nothing. But unfortunately, the African Union is such a lame dog. It's such a toothless dog. It's just there for the nomenclature. So the African Union, I felt, should have taken action long before now. I thought the Nigerian government should have been proactive. So those are the things I think the government should have done. In being proactive, you would have seen that xenophobic attacks are not new. They had killed people before, more than once, more than twice. They had killed people for which the government even issued statements. So what it means is that now, when the threats were coming and they even give a deadline, so much that you promised to evacuate the people. Now what it means is that if you want to evacuate people, evacuate them properly. You can't be relying on one plane to make the return trip to and fro from South Africa and expect that this would take place in good time to save these people from the danger.
And even the period from the first evacuation to the second.
So the second evacuation is such a wide period. So like I said earlier, they should have at least made 4 or 5 airlines available. If 4 or 5 airlines are available, you take minimum of 200, say 270 or so on in 5 places. That gives you a very good number. And if 5 airlines go there 2 times, you may be able to evacuate all Nigerians who are willing to leave South Africa. I know there are some Nigerians who are there who are protected, who live in the highbrow areas and so on, where security is better, and people who are rich enough to get
influential
influential in the country and so on. Yeah, those ones will not even bother, because they know that nothing they happen. They are safe and secure wherever they are. So what the government should do, by my own thinking, is that evacuate people as soon as possible, provide more aircrafts, and move swiftly before Nigerians become they will just be killing them like lame dogs wherever they find themselves. So that's how I think government should answer this.
All right. I think it's a fine place to leave this discussion. Thank you so much for the options that you've been able to give us this morning on this particular matter. We need to go. The true measure of a society is not how it treats its own, but how it treats the stranger within its gate. And then to Mr. Nwoko, thank you for sharing your insight on this important issue. South Africa's anti-immigration protests have once again brought to the forefront the difficult balance between national interests, economic pressures, migration policies, and the protection of human rights. While every nation has the right to enforce its immigration laws, violence, discrimination, and xenophobia can never be the solution as African nations continue to pursue regional integration and the vision of a united continent. This movement calls for stronger diplomacy, better migration management, and a renewed commitment to the dignity and safety of every African, regardless of nationality. Thank you for staying with us on The Big Story. I'm Oluwayemi Adelako. We take a short break, and when we come back, we say our BY on the show. Please stay with us.
a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast and on X at Dominion Cast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
And I think sometimes one of the things we must do is that the things that are beyond our control, there's only so much we can do. So why not focus on the things that are within our control? And that's to say, Nigeria needs to do so much, especially in this conversation of the South African, the xenophobic attack and all of that. We also have a role to play in all of this.
Exactly, and I think just like you mentioned, the governments must be ready to rescue these people as soon as possible. And just like as Samuko mentioned as well, we cannot afford to rescue people today and the next time we are doing it is after 3 weeks or a month, basically. And I think it's a fine place to leave the discussion this morning. Thank you for joining us. My name is Oluwayemi Adelakon. I'll see you tomorrow.
And I'll say bye for now. My name is Anulua Poido.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life?